Week 4 of the NFL season, done. This is the play sheet. The opening script, Geno Smith, is better than Russell Wilson. Probably not actually, but through 4 weeks of the season, the Seahawks passing offense is working better than the Broncos passing offense. Geno is beating Russ in most major categories of like advanced quarterbacking metrics. And some of that has to do with playing the Detroit Lions defense in week 4. Geno went 23 for 30, 320 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, no sacks. Pretty easy day in the office, 48 points, good football day. But over the course of the season, or at least the first quarter of the season, Geno is leading the league in completion percentage. Geno's completed 77.3% of his passes, which is the highest number ever recorded for a quarterback through the first 4 games of the season. The way that Geno's completing these passes is really important. We typically see quarterbacks with high completion percentages have low depth of target, right? The easier passes to complete are the ones that are shorter, closer to the line of scrimmage. It's less likely that the defense can react to the ball being thrown. It's more likely the defense is giving you that throw because they're more worried about something down the field. And those downfield throws are harder to complete. A slight inaccuracy matters a lot more when the ball is traveling like 40 yards as opposed to 10 yards. So Geno's completing 77.3% of his passes, but he's not just attempting easy passes. Currently, Geno's air yards per attempt, how far downfield the ball is traveling on each throw, is 8, which is right around league average. And because we know that the throws further down the field are harder to complete, we can actually adjust completion percentage relative to the difficulty of the throw. This is a common metric called completion percentage over expectation, or expected completion percentage. A quarterback attempting the throws that Geno has attempted through the first 4 weeks of the season is expected to complete 67.2% of their passes. Because Geno's completing 77.3% of his passes, his completion percentage over expectation is 10%. The next closest quarterback is Jameis Winston at 5.2. So the typical exchange of quarterbacking, the further downfield you throw it, the less likely you are to complete it, currently doesn't apply to Geno. Let's go to the film. This is where we can find out how Geno's juicing up his completion percentage over expectation. Early 1st and 10 against the Lions. Seahawks are an empty gun. Throwing the football, baby. 2 deep safeties, and we have DK Metcalf on the seam bender, right? So Metcalf's going to work right to the hole between these 2 safeties, and you're going to throw this thing on time between those 2 safeties. This is a route that, like, anecdotally is open against 2 deep looks, but it is tough. The first thing you have to do is you have to tie down this middle linebacker. You don't want him dropping into that window, so they're going to run Tyler Lockett underneath. And then Geno's got to throw this ball with rhythm. It's got to be on time, well placed, because both of these safeties have the ability to read Geno's eyes and then come down and collision Metcalf at the catch point. This is a tough physical catch, but that's why you like Metcalf for this route. He's a big physical receiver. So let's run it. Watch the timing from Geno in the pocket. See the middle linebacker stay low. Metcalf's eyes already coming towards his quarterback. Geno already loading on his back foot, ready to throw. Ball's out. And look at the ball placement on Metcalf's back shoulder, which slows him down. It prevents him from running into Deshaun Elliott. It keeps him from the hit for an extra quarter of a second. That makes it easier for him to secure the football, make the catch. End zone view, watch Geno's eyes, watch the timing. 1 step, little hop, ball's out. We can already see Elliott closing in on Metcalf, but if you throw this ball with placement, you prevent Metcalf from taking the hit at the catch point. He has an opportunity to secure the ball, hit, and a catch. That's an explosive gain. That's 15, 20 yards down the field, in rhythm, on 1st and 10, in a closing window. And that window he threw it in is really important. That target for Metcalf is between the numbers in the intermediate area of the field. And it's one of 9 targets he's had in that window through just 4 games this season. This area of the field is critical. It's all that gets talked about nowadays in the discourse of NFL offenses. That's because of offensive designers like Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, who have made a living opening up this intermediate area of the field. Run some play action, suck those linebackers into the line of scrimmage, and then throw in the void behind them, generate some yards after the catch. You've got yourself an explosive play. The current Seahawks offensive coordinator is Shane Waldron. He was on the Los Angeles Rams coaching staff with Sean McVay. He was brought to Seattle in part to bring the tenets of this offense, to bring a focus on throwing to the intermediate middle of the field. That route is, gun, empty set, throw the bender over the linebacker. That's more traditional spread. This Metcalf intermediate target, also against the Lions, looks more like what we expect from those Rams 49ers offenses. Back to the film. This is like the greatest hit of all Shanahan McVay offenses. People lose their minds over this play. It's pretty simple at its concept, though. We're going to send Tyler Lockett across the formation, jet motion. It's going to pull one of the linebackers down. They have to respect the threat of the handoff, respect the threat of the throw to the flat. Then we're going to present split zone. We're going to have zone blocking from all of our offensive line. Tight end's going to come across. Back's going to work into the interior. This could be a handoff. It's not. It's just meant to pull these linebackers down, pull this safety down. You have to respect the threat of the run. In that void that we create in the middle of the field, DK Metcalf going to break it about 12 yards and work to the hole. Just work to the space left behind the linebackers. Geno's going to put it on you. When we run it, we see how it works. Tyler Lockett across the formation. Linebacker has to come down. Fake the handoff, 5-step drop. Geno's at the back of his drop. Alex Anzalone is the only guy policing this intermediate middle of the field right now. Look at all of this space that Metcalf's about to break into. Now the question for Geno is, can you throw this window? You have to be able to either A, throw it over Alex Anzalone and drop it in the bucket on DK Metcalf, or B, wait until Metcalf clears Anzalone as he drops and then throw it into space behind Anzalone. There's going to be pressure, but watch as Geno waits until Metcalf gets into the window and then releases the football. It's a tough throw. It means taking a hit, and it looks like it's into a big window, but it really isn't. Watch from the end zone view. Fake the handoff to Rashad Penny. There's Anzalone bailing. Geno wants to throw this right now. He's loaded. He's got Metcalf breaking into space, but if he throws it now, it has to come over Anzalone and then drop into Metcalf, which makes it a more difficult throw. So way to beat. Get some pressure in your lap, but accurate football behind Anzalone, in front of the safety. Explosive gain in the intermediate middle of the field. This is the bread and butter throw for this offense. The entire philosophy of this approach hinges on the idea that your quarterback will throw this route after under center zone play action. It's the whole kit and caboodle. But last year it wasn't available. That's because in 14 games that Metcalf played with Russ, he had a total of 17 targets to the intermediate middle of the field. This year he's on pace for 38. We have seen demonstrably over the course of his career that Russ does not want to make this throw. Here's a week 2 rep against the Texans. Extremely similar concept. Watch what Russ does. Play action part 3. So here we are, under center. We're going to give split zone look. Russ is going to 5-step drop. Cortland Sutton, 10 yards. Break to the hole in front of the deep middle safety. It's run at a slightly different depth. It is the same play, the same concept, the same philosophy, and the same general window of the field. Intermediate middle. We run the play. Play action. Russ at the top of his drop. Watch his eyes. Sutton is about to break to the middle of the field. Watch Russ's eyes. Down. There's not even a sinking linebacker. We got to throw the football. But Russ does not like this throw. He does not like this area of the field. And there's a couple of theories behind that. It could be that Russ just doesn't have the anticipation to throw to this area of the field, but we've seen Russ throw with timing before. It could be that because throwing to this area of the field requires jamming a ball into a tight window, Russ would rather do that 40 yards down the field against the sideline with one of his typical characteristic moon balls than do it 15 yards down the field where his receiver might get hit. And that's fine, but you do need to access all areas of the field to really stretch a defense, put stress on them in the passing game. The last reason is because he's a little short. It's hard to see over the offensive line to throw intermediate middle of the field, especially when you have to 5-step drop and throw. Russ likes to sink way deep into pockets so that he can see over the line, and you can't do that when this throw requires so much timing. The short quarterback thing is real. Tua Tagovailoa said as much himself this season during a presser.
I can't see because I'm not the biggest guy out there. So if I can't see you, you can't see me, I can't get you the ball. If you can't see me, get somewhere to where you can't see me, then I can see you, then I can hit you.
So, for whatever reason, probably because he's short, Russ can't access this area of the field that Geno can. And critically, it's the area of the field on which the entire Waldron offense hinges and that which Pete Carroll would like to access. After the Week 3 loss to the Falcons, Pete was asked, what do you like from Geno? Do you feel like Geno can access the deep ball more? You guys used to throw deep a lot more. Why hasn't that been part of the offense? And this is what he said.
We don't feel like that's the strength of our game, that we're trying to just bomb the ball up, but we still want to use the whole field and the crossers and the posts, and it's just like the seam routes that he throws so well. It's not the number one priority for us. It was, that was something we really had to do in the past.
So this, what's happening right now with Geno, is what the Seahawks wanted to be on offense with Russ, and they couldn't get him there. That doesn't mean Russ was a bad quarterback. It means that what the Seahawks prioritize on offense, as Pete Carroll said, the crossers, the seams, not so much just yeet in a deep ball, didn't fit with Russ's play style. They wanted to go a different direction. Does this mean Geno is a star quarterback? Unfortunately not. Does it mean that he's better than Russ? Still, unfortunately, probably no. The thing is, we've been doing this dance with quarterbacks in this offense for years. We asked, why did the Rams trade for Matt Stafford when they already had Jared Goff and he had put up some great numbers? Why did the Niners trade up for Trey Lance when Jimmy Garoppolo just took them to the NFC Championship game? Look at Kirk Cousins' EPA per play. Wow, they're great. We know that this offense props up quarterbacks to some degree. And so while Geno's start to the season is awesome, he's still going to be a quarterback with a limited ceiling. But for the Seahawks right now, that's okay. They're in a rebuilding phase. They have some extra first-round picks. And with a ton of work to do on the defense, they can sit and wait on offense for a year if they want. Because Geno, Waldron, Metcalf, Lockett, this thing works for them. Colts are 1-2-1. Vibes are absolutely horrendous. One of the few Colts players who's kind of been around for the entire Chris Ballard, Frank Reich era is running back Nyheim Hines. And after the loss to the Titans in week 4, he had this to say. Not an excuse, but every year we have a new quarterback. So each year we have growing pains while we sit here and watch Tennessee, which has had Tannehill, my whole career? And each year we're restarting and we have to turn the page. So that sucks a little bit too, that most teams we play have an established guy, but that doesn't matter. We have figured it out and we will figure it out. This is like a weird under pressure because it's not Nyheim who's under pressure. It's Chris Ballard and Frank Reich who are under pressure. But it is really cool to see this level of honesty from an NFL player. And Nyheim is exactly correct. Anytime your team building philosophy puts your players in envy of Ryan Tannehill and the Tennessee Titans, you've probably made a misstep somewhere. At the quarterback position, Ballard and the Colts have been sitting on their thumbs for a couple of years now. And yes, the Andrew Luck retirement took them by surprise. That really blows, and it's hard to recover from that right away. But Chris Ballard himself has said, if I go and I draft a quarterback and that guy's not good, y'all will be the first ones to run me out of the building. I'm going to be the first one fired. I'm going to be putting my job on the line. And the implication with that is that if he doesn't draft a quarterback, his job never gets put on the line. And that's being proven false over the course of this season. If you continue to tread water, eventually you sink. The Colts have not been aggressive enough in their team building approach. They have been draft and develop, and that looked really good when Shaq Leonard was cheap, and when Quentin Nelson was cheap, and when Braden Smith was cheap, and when Michael Pittman Jr., who's still cheap, is cheap. All of those windows are running dry, and the Colts still haven't figured out the quarterback position. Nyheim's right. It's not an excuse. This team should be better than 1-2-1 with the talent that they have with Matt Ryan at quarterback. But he's also right in that every single season, the Colts have to start from behind. Their opponents have the continuity that the Colts offense has never had. That's been to their detriment in the past, and it's to their detriment this year as well. That's it for the show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for spreading the gospel of Geno Smith. Thank you for making fun of short quarterbacks as a proud 5'7" man. It's got to be done. Also subscribe to the Ringer YouTube channel and watch the Play Sheet every week. And it comes out on Thursdays. And listen to the podcasts and read the articles. Thank you.